Recording.
G'day everyone, this is Aussie Bike Enthusiast. So today I'm having a look at the Gustafsson Plastics 12-inch Tourer windscreen for Sport Glide. Now you'll see I've gone for the dark smoke bronze on my Wicked Red Sport Glide. I think that is a really good colour match. I really like the look of that with the red, Wicked Red and the dark smoke bronze. Have a look at the colour guide that's on their website. It's pretty accurate, but I have seen a dark cherry Sport Glide with a dark smoke grey windscreen attached. That actually looked really good. So it's really up to you what look you want to go for. Check the colour guides. The colour guides are pretty good in my opinion. This is what they recommended for me. I think it's actually come up a treat, so it looks really, really good. They do mention on their website that the screen is going to rub on your brake fluid reservoir here. So they do give you a little patch of rubber. Now you're probably wondering what I'm talking about because it doesn't look right. It'll make sense in a minute. So with your standard handlebars, you'll need to attach that little bit of foam just there, because you'll see previously my screen was rubbing on there. Now I have attached the 4-inch fat pullback risers to my handlebars. So that's them there. So that's given me a little bit of a lift with the handlebars and pulled them back, and that's now cleared the screen. The only issue I've got here is the cable does actually rub on the screen a little bit there, so I'm going to fix that up by adjusting that cable. Now you might be concerned about it being acrylic, being quite large, whether it's going to flex or not. It's actually quite rigid, so really does not flex as much as I expected. It's really quite strong. Even at high speeds, this really doesn't move at all. When you pass a truck, you might see a little bit of a deflection on the screen, obviously because you've got that big wind buffet hitting you. But apart from that, it really doesn't move at all. So it's a very rock solid and very nice and stable. Now, there are on mine a couple little gaps to the fairing here. They do say on the website it's not going to be a perfect fit. I mean, if you want to, you could heat that up and mess around and try and bend it and mess around, but I'm not really too fussed with it. I mean, it doesn't really interfere with the look of the bike. You barely notice it. It kind of looks like it's supposed to be there to me. I don't really care. It looks pretty good. I'm happy. So yeah, so I'll give you a bit of a look from back here. Looks awesome. I like the width of it. I like how the shape flows into the fairing. Into the factor fairing of the bike. I don't like some of the other shapes where it actually comes in a bit tighter. That's just my personal preference. I actually prefer it flowing out from the edges of the factory fairing there. You see that one's quite dark, so the dark smoke bronze is quite dark, but don't worry. Now, the reason I say that is my concerns when I went for the dark smoke bronze was perhaps the darkness of it was going to interfere with my view from the bike. Now, just so you understand, this is the first bike I've had with a screen, but if you can see from the view from the camera, it actually really doesn't interfere with the view of the road there at all. Yes, it's dark, but I can actually still see quite clearly through there, so really not interfering with my view of the road at all. The height for me is just about perfect, so I'm 6'1", fairly standard body dimensions. You'll see it's below my eye line, so I can still clearly see the road. So if you see that bit of concrete there, from my viewpoint here sitting in the seat, the screen is just on the far edge of that concrete. So I've still got a full field of view of everything that's happening around in front of me. So don't be concerned about it interfering with your view. Now, one thing I will mention is I'm wearing a full face helmet. When I have the visor up, the wind flows up and over the screen and actually catches on the visor, and I do get a bit of turbulence coming up, probably from 80 k's and up. Once I get over that speed, the wind does actually flow up over the visor and interferes with my helmet visor. Once I close the visor, that all disappears and you don't notice it, it all goes away, but it's just whether you want to ride with your visor open or not, and whether that concerns you. Now, you could go for the 15-inch. That would probably eliminate that. If you're a little bit shorter than me, problem should be solved. It should just flow up and over the top of your helmet there, so there shouldn't be any dramas at all. Now, again, being the first bike I've had with a screen, I actually really wasn't expecting how much protection the width of this gives you to your torso. The wind flowing around this thing basically completely comes around your torso, and you don't get any of that interference on your body. You don't get any of that buffeting, any of that sort of stuff. So really, really effective. Like I say, the narrow ones, you may not get as much protection from the wind coming at you. But the way this is set up with a 12-inch tourer, like I say, it's almost perfect. Just a little bit of turbulence, 80 k's and up, when I've got my visor open. But close the visor, all that's gone. I don't notice it with my open face helmet. Again, just seems to be catching underneath the visor, and that's what's causing that turbulence there. So we'll just go for a bit of a spin so you can see what she looks like as we're cruising around. A couple of other fellas out for a ride. How you going, fellas? One thing I love about the bike community, everyone's always get a nod from everyone. So hopefully from the camera you can see no interference with my field of view. Yes, it's dark, but anything that's down there covered by the darkness, if I'm looking at that, I'm going to hit that anyway, so it really doesn't matter if it's interfered with or not. My field of view should be up about where that red is now at the minimum. I should be looking forward at what's on the road and what's coming at me. If I'm trying to see what's down there, I'm going to come off this bike and I'm going to hit whatever it is down there, so don't worry about it. Actually really, really good. Like I said, the colour selections are pretty accurate. There's a guide on the Gustafsson website which will give you some good insight on what they recommend you do. There's some good pictures from other owners who've installed them on their bike. There's some examples on there. Jump on their Facebook page as well. There's a heap of pictures put up by clients of their bikes and how they look. So have a bit of a look through, see which look you think you prefer. Obviously consider the colours. I'm a bloke, I've got no idea about colours, I just follow their guide, and I think it actually came up a treat. Now there is a little bit of reflection on the back of the screen. So with the chrome bars, I can actually see a bit of that chrome reflecting just on the back of the screen here. Again, that's nothing to be concerned about. Probably the first maybe 20 k's that I had it on, I was noticing it, but since then, just don't even notice it's there anymore. I mean, you get reflection in acrylic and glass, you get used to it, so once you're accustomed to having the screen on your bike, it should all be fine. Again, it's a bit of a cool day today, so the wind's a little bit cool. My chest is well protected. The wind's actually coming right around me. I'm actually getting none of this cold air hitting me directly on the chest. Do have the airflow up the top, so obviously at the moment I've got my screen down, visor down on my helmet, and that airflow is just perfect. I mean, I'm only doing 60 k's now, so it's not really a good indication, but I have taken it out on some long trips, and the buffeting is only an issue when you've got the visor in your helmet open and only from 80 k's and up. So once you get up to that speed, you're probably going to want your visor down anyway if you've got an open face, full face helmet. So just pop your visor down. Doesn't have to be completely closed. I mean, partly open, that buffeting disappears as well. And it actually makes for a really, really comfortable ride. Now, the beauty of the Sport Glide is if you're concerned about having this big screen on your bike all the time, you can just unclip your front fairing and take it off. Nice and simple. I think the design of the Sport Glide, the functionality of it has really been thought out well. Being able to pop things on and off the bike so you can get whatever ride you need on the day. It's a really good idea by Harley Davidson. I think they've done a fantastic job with that element of it. Again, if you're worried about having a big screen on your bike, because you're like me, you haven't had one before, well, you can just pop it off. It's easy as. I did an installation video recently. Just have a look on my channel. You'll see how to actually install the screen into your fairing. It's a star drive screws, about 7 of them if I remember. So have a look, but there is a couple of little nuances you'll need to double check in that video just so you're absolutely sure, get a perfect fit of your screen onto your Sport Glide. I am very, very happy with the screen. Look is fantastic, wind protection is fantastic, functionality is fantastic. I mean, I can't praise this thing enough. I'm very, very happy with it. So I'll just get over into this line. So yeah, definitely recommend the Gustafsson Plastics 12-inch tourer. Hopefully you get something that you need. You know, if you're a little bit shorter, you could go down to the 9-inch. A little bit taller, definitely go up to the 15-inch. Like I say, I'm 6'1". The 12-inch is probably the shortest I would go for someone of my height. So just keep that in mind and grab a size according to your height and just make sure it suits you. Alright, so hopefully you got something out of this little video. Gustafsson Plastics, they are in Florida in the USA. They do import, like I'm in Australia. They packaged this up really nicely and neat, shipped it over to me. It was in perfect condition when it turned up. A couple of screws, popped it in, bang, there you go. So it's a really good setup, really easy to change the screens over. Like I say, you can just pop your clips off and pop the whole thing off and just have your naked look if that's what you're going for. Pop the screen back on when you're going for a bit of a tour, and I guarantee you this will keep you well protected. So hopefully you got something out of that. Good luck with your build and safe riding. See you next time.